lifestyle, what we need to do with our health, our wealth, our time, our kids, our family, our verbiage, what we say, how we act, because we will be there and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask about all these things. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. You'll be asked, then you'll be asked about the bounties, the blessings. What are the bounties? The Sahaba said, "O Prophet, what bounties, what blessings we are talking about?" All we have but al-aswadain, at-tamr wal-ma'. That's all they had. Dates and water. And look what we have. Are we aware of what we have? What we do? Brothers and sisters, in so many verses in the Quran and a hadith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us in one act of worship that has the greatest reward, that we can take advantage of it, though we don't take advantage of it. Some of us, or maybe a lot of us, they don't look at this act that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even commanded al-mujrimeen, the people who are disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is feeding the hungry. إطعام الطعام. جاء الرجل للرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام وسأل الرسول ما الإسلام يا رسول الله. He said طيب الكلام وإطعام الطعام. That this man asked the Prophet, what is Islam? He said طيب الكلام وإطعام الطعام. طيب الكلام, good manners. Some scholars say the Quran, what it came up with, what the Quran came with. وإطعام الطعام. Just think about that. Today, when we finish Salah, we're going to go home and we're going to enjoy our lunch or our food at home. But we need to ponder about the responsibility. وَالْمَثَلُ أَعْلَى لِلَّهِ. When you give a child his bonus or his idea or any money you give your child, you always hope that your child will do a good thing with that money and will not waste it. And you might hold him accountable to how they spend their money. ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. A verse should guide us every day about how we spend our money, our time, our health, our youth. ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also described the people who are feeding the needy and the hungry بِالْأَبْرَارِ وَيُطْعِمُونَ الطَّعَامَ عَلَى حُبِّهِ مِسْكِينًا وَيَتِيمًا وَأَسِيرًا إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا. Al-Abrar, the righteous. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described these people. They are defeating the needy, the hungry, even the one in prison, that they are abrar, the righteous. Brothers and sisters, we have a responsibility as Muslims. The minute we said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, you committing to do the meaning of Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. I want you to listen to this hadith, where Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said about feeding the people, the needy, the hungry, or being generous with your guests. And it's a reward to enter Jannah, where he said, وَأَطْعِمُوا الطَّعَامِ وَصِلُوا الْأَرْحَامِ وَصَلُّوا بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّاسُ نِيَامِ تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ بِسَلَامٍ. There are several narrations like أَفْشُوا السَّلَامِ وَأَطْعِمُوا الطَّعَامِ وَصَلُّوا اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّاسُ نِيَامِ تَدْخُلُوا الْجَنَّةَ بِسَلَامٍ. But the guest of this is that feeding the needy, feeding people that they are struggling right now across the globe, especially the Muslim world, it's our responsibility. I want to tell you a story so you can put this in context. Back in 2012, I get a call from my family in Aden, Yemen. And they say, your mother is sick. We want you to come in. So I flew to Yemen. By the time we are circling on the airport, Aden, 2012, a big city, once was a capital, big city. The pilot said we cannot land. Why? Because there's no electricity. So we have to circle. Then when we got the lights, we landed. Fast forward. 2 hours later, I get home. I tell my sister I want to take a shower. Aden, for those who knows, Aden is hot, humid. I want to take a shower. My sister says, sorry, there is no water. You have to wait till tomorrow. Couple hours later, lost electricity, no air conditioning in the house. 2012, before the war. Get to the hospital. 70 days later, my mom passed away. Rahmatullah alayha. Rahamna wa raham mawtakum wa mawtal muslimin. Qulu ameen. Akhi, pick her up from the hospital, going home to get her ready for burial. Guess what? No electricity, no water. And we have to figure out quickly how to wash her and get her ready for the funeral. 2012. That was Yemen before the war. I want you to imagine what is it like right now. We have so much responsibilities towards our brothers and sisters. But I want you to think about your obligation when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. What is my answer? What's your answer? When you know there is a father, there is a mother, there's a child, there is an orphan in Yemen, cannot eat. Cannot eat. That we have about 85,000 children a year dying because there is no shots for flu or aspirin or Advil, that we have a stack of it in our bathrooms. I want you to think about a father standing looking at his son and cannot feed him. ولهذا قال الرسول عليه الصلاة والسلام أوصانا اللهم إني أعوذ بك من قهر الرجال. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من قهر الرجال. اللهم لا تبتلينا اللهم لا تبتلينا وفرج همهم ويسر أمرهم وأطعم جائعهم يا أرحم الراحمين. Brothers and sisters, this is a responsibility. You know why I know that? Because Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said in a hadith, أحب الأعمال إلى الله سرور تدخله على مسلم أو تكشف عنه كربة أو تطرد عنه جوعا أو تقضي عنه دينا. That's the hadith. That the best deeds, the best act that you can do is to bring pleasure to a Muslim. Feed him, pay their debt. And then I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the day of judgment, will say to you, to everybody that is able to help, is gonna, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, يا ابن آدم استطعمتك فلم تطعمني. يا ابن آدم استطعمتك فلم تطعمني. I asked you to feed me and you did not feed me. Then you will say, oh Allah, Allah is going to ask you, say, I asked you to feed me, but you did not feed me. Then you will say, Ya Rabb, wa kayfa at'amuka wa anta Rabbul Alamin. Oh Allah, how can I feed you? And you are the Lord of the universe. Then Allah will say to you, and I, and everybody knows that we have brothers and sisters in need. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, أستطعمك عبدي فلان فلم تطعمه. That my servant asked you for food and you did not feed him. Brothers and sisters, I can go through all the ahadith. I can go through all the ayat and the verses. But if there is one verse, regardless what you do with your life, that you want to always remember, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. We are accountable to the bounties and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He bestows on us, on how we act and react to situations like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also described the people who are feeding the needy. But when? That is the most important thing in this ayah and this verse. When? Listen to this. أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة. في مسغبة. The day of famine. That you feed the day of famine. We have days and months and years of famine right now in Yemen. Right now. As I talk to you, there are people who went to bed hungry. There are kids that are 10 and 13 years old. They weigh probably 30 and 40 pounds because they cannot find food. ثم لتسألن يومئذ عن النعيم. This verse is a verse of accountability. A verse of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We'll ask each one of us what we are doing and what we did when it comes to helping the people in need. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this ayah says, أو إطعام في يوم ذي مسغبة يتيما ذا مقربة أو مسكينا ذا متربة. Those the people of the right, the one inshallah will get their book in their right hand. That's the bounties, that's the rewards that we'll get inshallah the day we stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we feed the needy and the hungry. Brothers and sisters, in Yemen right now, there are over 14 million people in a famine risk. There are over 1 million people, million orphans. I want you to imagine, million people. They're orphans. There are people eating from trash. And we know that when you look at the Quran, and when you read the Quran, and when you listen to a hadith, you know and I know that we have a responsibility towards the people of Yemen. أغيثوا أهل اليمن أغاثكم الله. Nobody should go hungry, not only in Yemen, anywhere in the world. Nobody should be dying because of the food. Of course, death is in the hands of Allah. But nobody should really every morning as a father standing looking at his son or looking at his daughter and say, Baba, ana ja'a. People are eating from tree leaves. They're eating from trash. So as you today, you eat your lunch, whatever is Allah bestow on you from the bounties of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I want you to think, have I played a role in feeding somebody in need? What did I do when I stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and I know for a fact that He will ask me, ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله العظيم لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Brothers and sisters, we go through life without thinking about the bounties and the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You get up in the morning, you open your fridge, you fix a cup of coffee, you grab a cereal bar or eat cereal. But wallahi al-azim, our people don't have those bounties. And we think that we have problems. We think that we are struggling. We think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must alleviate this pain on us right now. We count one test and one trial. But when you have people, they don't have a home, they're in the street, They don't have a shower. They don't have something to eat. Wallahi, our trouble is nothing comparing to these people. But there are two types of people. There is a sabur and there is a shakur. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يجعل اليمن وأهل اليمن من الصابرين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أبتلى اليمن وأبتلى سائر المسلمين أن يكونوا صابرين وإن صبروا فإن الله سبحانه وتعالى وعدهم بالخير الجزاء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will reward those people who are patient. But who's the shakur? Shakur, the one that have bounties and act on those bounties. That gave because saying, oh Allah, I appreciate, I'm thankful, I'm grateful to all what you gave me, and I'm going to take advantage of this to get closer to you, oh Allah. Brothers and sisters, I stand here in front of you on behalf of Pure Hands, a wonderful organization that is run by a lot of brothers that they are dedicating their time and their energy and resources to help the people of Yemen. They're probably the only one that they have so many offices in Yemen right now to serve the needy and the orphans and the hungry in Yemen. They're here today. They're reaching out to your heart, to your word when you say, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. There are obligation to that words, brothers and sisters. There are obligation. We have to meet those obligations. This organization is here today, inshallah, so you can help the people of Yemen. Now I want to remind you one more time, there are over 85,000 people a year died in Yemen, children, they're dying in Yemen. There are over 14 million at risk with famine. There are over 1 million orphans. They need help. We as Muslims, we need not just to think about our surrounding, but we need to operate and act and react to the need of all Muslims and even non-Muslim in need, that we can help and prevent this kind of famine. But right now the greatest need is really in Yemen. You don't hear a lot about what's going on out there. But we are here today to ask you for your help. So inshallah, after the Salah, I will take 5 or 6 minutes of your time. Before you start praying the Sunnah, give me just time to try to collect some funds to help the Yemen and the Yemeni people. Because the day will come and you will stand up for Allah, and Allah will say to you and I ask you to feed me. And you will say, oh Allah, how can I feed you? And you are the Lord of the universe. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, my servant so and so asked you to feed him. And if you fed him, you will find the rewards with me. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to really prevent from happening when the day of judgment coming in and we say we did what we can to help the people of Yemen. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to tell you before I close a story of people that I heard about in Yemen. A child that was so hungry walked into a hospital and asked if he can sell his kidney so he can get food to eat. That's the situation. We have a responsibility. We will be asked. ثُمَّ لَتُسْأَلُنَّ يَوْمَئِذٍ عَنِ النَّعِيمِ. Allah will ask you and ask me about the money we have, what we spend it for, who we give it to, how we earn it. And we heard about the people that in need, that they can use our help, and we walk away. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعلنا من الشاكرين. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يسهل في قلوبنا. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يجعلنا من الذين قال فيهم أنهم من أصحاب اليمين. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن نكون من الأبرار الذين يطعمون الطعام على حبه مسكينا ويتيما. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يفرج هم اليمن وأهل اليمن. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن ييسر أمورنا. اللهم يا واحد يا أحد يا صمد، أسألك بعزتك وجلالك وعظيم سلطانك ألا تجعل لنا هما إلا فرجته، ولا دينا إلا قضيته، ولا حاجة من حوائج الدنيا إلا قضيتها وسددتها يا أكرم الأكرمين. اللهم إنا نسألك بعزتك وجلالك وعظيم سلطانك يا واحد يا أحد يا صمد يا قوي يا متين يا فعال لما تريد، نسألك يا كريم يا أرحم الراحمين أن تكرم اليمن وأهل اليمن وكل المسلمين في كل مكان. اللهم أشبع جائعهم، اللهم آمن خائفهم، اللهم أشفي جرحاهم، اللهم أرحم موتاهم يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك بعزتك وجلالك وعظيم سلطانك أن تغفر لآبائنا وأمهاتنا، اللهم اغفر لهم وارحمهم وكفر عنهم سيئاتهم يا أكرم الأكرمين. اللهم اشفي كل مريض، اللهم اشفي كل مريض، اللهم اشفي كل مريض. اللهم يا رحمن يا رحيم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين، اللهم ارحم موتانا وموتى المسلمين يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم اهدي شبابنا وشباب المسلمين، اللهم يا رحمن يا رحيم، اللهم يا رب يا كريم يسر الأمور ولا تعسرها، اللهم يسرها ولا تعسرها، اللهم اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. وصلى الله على محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. وأنت يا أخي أقم الصلاة.